looking at Dragonslayer this time. It was released in 1981. This is a co-production between Paramount and Disney. And it's best known for its dragon. It's rated PG, and it's a classic fantasy. This is a medieval fantasy involving the classic tale of sacrificing young virgins to appease a dragon. The story begins in an old wizard's tower. A group of townsfolk have traveled far to find the old sorcerer in hopes that he can rid them of the dragon, Mithrax. I'm probably saying that wrong, but we'll give it a shot. A group of the king's knights show up and challenge the sorcerer, Ulrich. Ulrich agrees, but dies, dashing the hopes of all the townsfolk. However, Galen, the apprentice, with the help of the old wizard's amulet, musters up the courage to finish the quest and defeat the dragon. The knights fear that anything that they do that troubles the dragon will just stir up the dragon's wrath, so they kind of go about sabotaging the expedition, going to the dragon's lair. However, Galen makes it to the lair. After confirming the dragon exists, he tries to block the entrance to the cave by causing an avalanche of rocks. He struggles to control the magic, but he is successful and brings down the mountain on the cave entrance. This gives the townsfolk a false sense of hope that he defeated the dragon. However, the king is not convinced, and he knows the dragon will seek revenge, which it does. It causes a stir in the castle, and Galen decides to fight the dragon with a magically enhanced spear. There is a mix of magic and faith in this movie. The townsfolk rely on faith to help him, while the king uses a fixed lottery system to kind of pacify the beast. They don't say how long this has been going on, but I question how sustainable it is. Ulrich mentions the fact that the magic and the dragons are tied together, and that the time of magic is coming to an end. Galen makes a valiant attempt to slay the dragon, but fails. He does manage to kill the baby dragons, and however, after his failed attempt, he leaves the town to escape. I think this gives the story some depth, as Galen couldn't rely on magic or might to slay the beast. However, Ulrich played the long game, and Galen finally realizes what he needs to do with the ashes of his old master. This leads to the final showdown between Ulrich and the dragon. I rate this movie at 2.5 out of 4. I found it engaging, and the special effects with the dragon still hold up well to this day. And there's a lot of subtleties to the story, and the things aren't as easy as they appear. They aren't afraid to wipe out characters as needed, which adds to the danger and the frustration of the people. It was industrial light, some magic behind the special effects, and they also used a full-size model for some shots. Unfortunately, it didn't do well in the box office. However, it has its fans, and I first saw it probably in the early 2000s when I stumbled across the DVD. I found it to be an interesting fantasy film, and I recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it, or if it's been a while since you've seen it. Thanks for watching.